Okay, guys, I'm here for give my review of WWE SmackDown Live for July the 26th, 2016. My first SmackDown review since my second video on this channel, because I will be reviewing SmackDown every week because I do prefer live wrestling. Now, to make this perfectly clear, if I did not say this is my Raw review, I am judging Raw and SmackDown on their own merits, not as competition with each other, because the draft proves that the WWE wants Raw to be better than SmackDown. I'm going to look at which show is using their rosters better, too. But I do, like everyone else, I will say that Raw did win the week. But again, Raw won the week based on one really great match that'll live for the ages in Raw, and a booking decision that was an amazing idea. And that is, of course, Sasha Banks winning the Women's Championship, and Finn Balor going to face Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship at SummerSlam. But, like I believe also in my Raw review, I think those were done for ratings. And with SmackDown, it's a reset, because that's also how we have to look at this, is that this brand split has reset everything. Okay, it's reset everything. So, we open up with Shane and Daniel Bryan in the back, and they go to the ring. That's different than how Raw opened up. SmackDown does have a new opening video package of a new song. I don't know who sings the song. I don't care about the songs to begin with. They do have a new set, but again, just like Raw, it's basically an old pay-per-view set. So, it's basically an old pay-per-view set. But it is a new set, so they do look different, and you have the blue ring ropes. Just like Raw, Shane and Daniel Bryan addressed the entire roster, and they say that Dean Ambrose needs an opponent for SummerSlam, and they're going to determine out of a six-pack challenge. And they announced 5 of the guys in this six-pack challenge. John Cena, Bray Wyatt, Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, AJ Styles. The 6th will be determined in a battle royal that Daniel Bryan said everyone would be involved in, but I guess he only meant the men, and he should have just said that. Now, automatically, I knew AJ and Cena were not winning this match because they are going to be finishing off at SummerSlam, their little thing. Because Cena AJ is the only feud that has a history. So, and obviously, would Randy Orton being in this six-pack have made it a stronger six-pack challenge? Yeah, but Randy Orton is facing Brock Lesnar, so he's not, because my theory on SmackDown is it'll take about a month, but by the time that pay-per-view Backlash comes, I think SmackDown will get its foot in the door, because it'll obviously grow its roster a little bit then, and I'll get into that in a little bit, but the Battle Royal kicks off, and it's basically got the rest of the roster, which has a lot of tag teams, but again, that's how SmackDown, that's what SmackDown was given. I will say that technically SmackDown, minus American Alpha, used every single person it drafted tonight. So, Tuesday. Everyone that they drafted was on this show in some capacity. Even if they didn't do anything, they at least are going to get a TV paycheck for appearing on TV, which is something I can't say for Raw because they didn't use even half of their roster. They only used, I think, a quarter of it. And again, that's how I judge what they're doing the best. SmackDown with a smaller roster means that smaller roster can get more TV time than the bigger roster. But the Final 4 in this Battle Royal was refreshing to see because it was Apollo Crews, Kalisto, Zack Ryder, and Kane. Okay, only one really old person in there. That's Kane. Yes, Kane dominated this Battle Royal, but what you gonna do when you have the likes of the Ascension, the Vaudevillains, and Breezango and whatnot in here? Zack Ryder eliminates Kalisto, even though I revert the other way, because Zack Ryder had 2 very bad botches in here. One was a drop kick to the back of the head, and then he missed his elbow drop. He botched that. But then Kane eliminates him. And then Kane does a chokeslam on Apollo Crews, and Apollo Crews backflips out of it. That was cool. I like that. Because that's a fresh counter for a chokeslam instead of some you just go behind or you counter the DDT or something like that. That was a fresh counter to the chokeslam that I've never seen before. And then Apollo Crews wins. What's the problem there? You have Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin in the main event of SmackDown for a possible WWE Championship match? I just see no problem with that. I see no problem with that, personally. So then we get a promo for a vignette for a returning superstar, and it's Shelton Benjamin coming back to SmackDown. How good is that? And I knew this is how SmackDown would build their roster as we went along. Sure, they're going to put some returns over on Raw, but I think a lot of them are going to go to SmackDown just because that's how SmackDown's going to build its roster. Because they need to have a good roster by the time that pay-per-view Backlash comes. Which, in my opinion, can be make or break for this, is that pay-per-view Backlash. Which, as I believe said in my Raw review, I think that is where you'll get the rivalries that make SmackDown have the potential it has. So then we get Becky Lynch versus Natalya, which yes, a rematch from Battleground, yes, 50-50 booking, but sometimes 50-50 booking makes sense. Should Becky have won at Battleground? Yes, she should have. But see, here's why I'm going to defend Becky winning, because it's clear that they want to make Becky Lynch the face of the SmackDown's Women's Division, even though they have nothing for them to fight for right now, but I do think that'll change. And honestly, I think what they should just do is put Asuka on SmackDown with the NXT Women's title and make basically the SmackDown Women's Division the NXT Women's Division, since there is no NXT Women's Division right now, especially after Back to Brooklyn and Bayley gets called up to the main roster, which is more likely going to happen. There will literally be no... And what I mean by there's no women's division down there, I know NXT has women down there, but none of them are established other than Bayley and Asuka. But either way, I think SmackDown will get a women's title. I think you cannot have solo brand pay-per-views and one brand only have two belts, because that'll get kind of repetitive. Do I think that's a bad idea? Yeah, because there are only 6 women on SmackDown, but I'm sure that'll grow as we go along. Here. Like I said when I did a draft review, I think they should have just put the women on one show and put the cruiserweights on the other, but when they split them up, I kind of knew we're probably going to get 2 titles. But since I think they want to make Becky Lynch the face of the women's division, do you really want her to lose on the first official post-draft SmackDown Live? You know? And then you had the other women of SmackDown came out. Alexa Bliss cut a small promo. Naomi cut a small promo. Carmella cut a small promo. And Eva Marie didn't talk. She had this over-the-top entrance about all red everything. And basically all she did was walk around, she walked around and she opened her jacket. And I'm thinking to myself, WWE, why don't you just give Eva Marie a pole? Because that would be her best match, would be her with a pole. So, then we get a Miz TV segment. This is obviously, the counter to Raw's New Day segment. Okay, and listen here. The Miz TV segment did actually lead to something more in a way than what New Day's did. Yeah, New Day set something up, but New Day's also went on a little too long and quite frankly got very repetitive, and I didn't find it all that funny. See, that's the thing about this. While I agree that Raw is probably the best Raw of the year and arguably the best Raw I've seen in quite some time, there were a lot of bumps in that road. And I'm speaking, keep in mind, reviews are opinionated, so that's my opinion. I'm not bashing the Raw I got. I was entertained. But I should make it clear that I just want to be entertained when I watch wrestling, and I do not care. I was entertained watching this SmackDown. I didn't get bored myself. I didn't want to change the channel or anything like that. So Miz comes out on Miz TV. He's interviewing himself. And anyway, I'm sure Jericho's going to have some highlight reels on Raw since he's over there. I'm sure he's going to have some highlight reels here or there. Anyway, Miz interviews himself, mentions a former world champion, which brings Randy Orton out, and then Randy Orton basically demands a match with Miz. Miz says that Orton doesn't deserve a shot for the Intercontinental Championship, but Orton says, okay, non-title. And Miz continues to turn him down, but eventually Randy Orton, obviously in I don't care mode, because I don't think Randy Orton cares anymore if the WWE fires him or not, because he starts putting all kinds of basically sexual innuendo into a promo, because he asked Miz and Maurice in their relationship who's pitching and who's catching, so to speak. And at least Randy Orton versus Miz. This had to be, listen, there is no way the WWE was going to have Randy Orton not wrestle till SummerSlam when he hasn't wrestled in 9 months. So they had to have him wrestle somebody. Now, do I agree that it probably shouldn't have been Miz? Yeah, probably. But this did not devalue the IC title. What devalued the IC title to me is when they had Miz go off for a month after coming off Extreme Rules and that phenomenal Fatal 4-Way match. They have Miz go off for a month to go film a movie. While Intercontinental Champion. That devalued the IC title more than him eating a pinfall. And anyway, also, again, didn't Finn Balor, a guy who, from a casual fan standpoint, even though I'm not a casual fan, mind you, from the mindset of a person watching this for the first time who doesn't know anything about Finn Balor, wouldn't Finn Balor pinning Rusev, who, when Finn Balor's on his first night on Raw, and hasn't done anything on the main roster yet, wouldn't that be devaluing the US title? In a way, that's what I think of. Because while I am not a casual fan, I may not follow New Japan all the time because I don't have the channel to watch it on my cable providers. But I do follow it in the sense of I know people from New Japan Pro Wrestling. I just don't watch it. But I do follow it. But anyway, I also think sometimes how a casual fan thinks watching a show. But anyway, Orton goes outside and he lands on his shoulder and it looks like he sells like he just re-injured it. But then Miz starts working it, so it's clearly a work in the match. And then Orton hits an RKO, and yeah, he does stand there awkwardly before he RKOs Miz again. Now, SmackDown does have some tweaks to work out like that, because SmackDown is not used to being a live show here. Not counting the draft show, which I don't really count because there didn't need to be any matches on that show. This is the first live SmackDown with matches without any draft segments. The official start of the new era or whatever. I know the new era started when Shane McMahon returned, but let's go with what the WWE is saying here. But there's that. And they need to fix their main camera. It kind of looks odd. Although in the main event, that camera angle did give for a very great looking spot. And I'll get to that. So, then, after we get a promo for American Alpha who are debuting next week, which is a smart thing, by the way, I think all these NXT call-ups needed a vignette before they debuted. Yes, Raw gave one to Finn Balor, but it was after his Fatal 4-Way match. Okay? It was after his Fatal 4-Way match. You know, because casual fans do not watch NXT, so I think you need these to help introduce these NXT calls to the main roster. I don't think any of them should have debuted without a vignette introducing them to the main roster. American Alpha were the only one that got one, and they debut next week. That'll be cool. Maybe Shelton Benjamin debuts next week. They never said when he's debuting, it said coming soon. So maybe he debuts next week. So then after that, we see a local guy, an enhancement talent in the ring. I don't know who he's going to wrestle, but anyway, Heath Slater comes in and throws this guy out of the ring and probably cuts the single best promo I have seen Heath Slater cut. Probably a star-making promo here that I want to see more of. Okay? I want them to continue this not just on Raw, but on SmackDown, because Heath Slater logically has a reason to be on both shows, as he was not drafted. So I want to see this continue on both shows, because they can make a star out of Heath Slater if he gives a promo like he gave on SmackDown, where he's calling for Shane, and he's basically shooting on the WWE in his promo, a work-shoot kind of thing, where he says, where he is upset that he went undrafted, and he tells Shane and Stephanie to sign Heath Slater. Now, while I like that Stephanie McFoley stayed off of Raw after the first 15 minutes of it, this made sense for Shane to come out in, because you have a guy undrafted bashing your show. You know, logically, the person in charge would want to respond to that. So it made sense for that. It made sense. Okay, it made sense. And then Shane says, Heath, you need some, why don't you submit your resume? And Heath Slater's like, a resume? Shane, I'm sure you have the WWE Network for just $9.99, so good way to plug the WWE Network, Heath Slater. You can go watch it, and you'll find out that I was the brains behind the Nexus, the Core, the Free Band, the One-Man Band, the Three-Man Band, the Social Outcasts. I'm the hottest free agent, and he said he's the hottest free agent in the WWE. And then he got this, then he did sign Heath Slater, which got a chant going. So it shows that the fans, at least on SmackDown anyway, are willing to sign Heath Slater. Hashtag sign Heath Slater, perhaps. And then, from the very back in the corner, you see that Rhino has emerged from under the ring, where I guess he was hanging out with Hornswoggle, if he was still there. And Shane says, yes, Heath, I am looking for at the hottest free agent in the WWE. And Rhino gores Heath Slater. Now, logically, here's what I think should happen. Heath Slater should have a match with Rhino next week on SmackDown, and if Heath wins, he joins the SmackDown roster. Or they keep this going to SummerSlam, and one of the general managers gives him a match at SummerSlam against someone to get onto the main to get onto the SmackDown or Raw's roster. Rhino helps too. Rhino can serve as a guy to help out the younger guys while still getting wins periodically, while still helping out the younger guys on the brand. This is what SmackDown did before. Because I think a lot of people are forgetting that SmackDown did not, in the original brand split, SmackDown did not get good and really amazing until 2002, until the fall, when the WWE Tag Team titles were introduced. Okay? You had Benoit and Angle and Eddie and Edge having great matches. But then when the tag titles got introduced, you added Chavo and Ray into it, and that's when the SmackDown 6 started. The SmackDown 6 was not originally on SmackDown. In fact, Eddie and Benoit, while Benoit was drafted to SmackDown in that draft when he was injured, he ended up re-debuting on Raw, and Eddie Guerrero re-debuted on Raw. So the SmackDown 6, two of them were not even originally on SmackDown. They went there right before SummerSlam, during everyone's a free agent period storyline. So that's when SmackDown, I say that with any brand split, time will tell how successful it is with this, okay? Time will tell. Okay, so I say we give SmackDown time before we deem this a dead thing. Because, who knows, it might not be. And there's other rumors coming back, like MVP, Kurt Hawkins, Melina, Carlito. There's a ton of people that are rumored to be coming back. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. So then on to the main event of the main event segment. SmackDown only had 4 matches on it. So, the 6-Pack Challenge, WWE Championship. 6-Pack Challenge for the number 1 contender for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. John Cena, AJ Styles, Baron Corbin, Bray Wyatt, Dolph Ziggler, and Apollo Crews. Now keep this in mind. 3 of the 6 guys in this match, 2 of them are relatively new, and 1 is Dolph Ziggler, and the other is Bray Wyatt. 1 is AJ Styles, and the other is John Cena. Only one of these, Cena is the only kind of old guard in this match, okay? Because the others are kind of new, would be kind of new to any main event scene, okay? So, that's a plus, in my opinion. It did worry me that Cena would win, but I always knew in the back of my mind that Cena wasn't going to win. But I did think maybe a moment with Cena, a traditional moment with Cena was happening here, because he started AAing everybody. Now AJ kicked out of the AA, he kicked out of the AA. He went outside for a bit, Then that's when, after that AA is when Cena, he AA'd Ziggler, AA'd AJ, who kicked out. AJ left the ring. He didn't leave the ring. Cena threw him into Bray, and then Bray got hit with a AA. And then, before that, he had AA'd Apollo Crews out of a crossbody. Then he gave the attitude adjustment to Baron Corbin. And that SmackDown camera angle, main one, while it does need to change with the crane, it did provide this moment where AJ Styles comes in off screen and hits the phenomenal forearm. That made for a very good visual, because it looked like he had just literally come from out of nowhere with that. That's a great, in that case, that was a great camera angle. And then Dolph Ziggler hits a super kick that AJ sells like a champ and gets the win off of that. Now, I see a lot of the complaints about AJ losing off the super kick. I see that. Okay? Because it's not Dolph Ziggler's established finisher. But he wasn't going to win this match anyway, because as I said, he's facing Cena at SummerSlam, clearly. It may not be announced officially yet, but it's been known for quite some time. So, I knew it wasn't going to be Cena or AJ. I knew it wasn't going to be Apollo Crews or Baron Corbin, because do you really want to give those two guys a WWE Championship match on a Big Four pay-per-view and have them buckle under the pressure? Which is a worry I think you have to have in the back of your mind about Finn Balor, because the NXT Network specials are not the level of a SummerSlam or a WrestleMania. So, can Finn Balor handle that spot? Okay, I'm not saying he's going to totally choke. I'm saying can he handle it, since he's not been on the main roster and hasn't had that kind of exposure. Because even NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, while it was in the same arena, that still was not the level of a SummerSlam. That was still not the level of a SummerSlam. So, I don't think Balor will choke. I'm just saying, I think you have to have it in the back of your mind, because, So, by process of elimination, at least Bray Wyatt and Dolph Ziggler to win this match. And I don't think Bray was going to get it. I think Bray will have his time, but not right now. I think they want to rebuild Bray Wyatt up first. Which, by the way, is the whole purpose of this brand split for SmackDown. And I think partially for Raw, but predominantly for SmackDown, they want to reestablish people and rebuild people. So Dolph Ziggler wins. He's going to face Dean Ambrose for the WWE Championship. Bray hasn't even had any championship match in the WWE yet, so, yeah. So they went with Dolph, who's actually managed to have championships, and has had 2 WWE Championship matches on Big Four pay-per-views, because he's had 2 WWE Championship matches at Royal Rumbles, consecutive Royal Rumbles. Now, has his booking over the past 2 or 3 or 4 years been good? Nah. Ever since 2014, no. So ever since Survivor Series 2014, I admit it hasn't been, but nor is Bray Wyatt, who a lot of people wanted to win. His booking hasn't been that stellar either. So, and like I said here, because Orton, AJ, and Cena are all busy with each other, this is the kind of main event you had to get here, because that's why I think that Backlash event will be far more important for SmackDown. So, and then afterwards, Ziggler, and by the way, I think this is going to go to turn Dolph Ziggler heel and basically make him kind of Shawn Michaels, including Kevin Nash as his bodyguard, since Nash is open to returning and managing and being Ziggler's bodyguard. So, in that role, which could also help Dolph. And I think he's going to turn heel, because this match can work if Ziggler's heel, not if he's face. One of these two have to turn heel, and Ambrose ain't. So, yeah, Ziggler will be the heel for this feud. So yeah, while it was not as good as Raw, trust me it wasn't, this was an entertaining SmackDown to me. Now everyone's free to their own opinion. It was an entertaining SmackDown to me, and that's all I care about. So if you like this video, like button's down there, subscribe button's down there, and thank you for watching. Bye.